Remember back in the old days when games on television sets were nothing more than imagination and science fiction? Nowadays, they're everywhere. Some are on handheld devices, while others are on computers. However, many take the shape of consoles. Consumers had not realized in the beginning how they would take off and help improve certain human functions. Adults have 3 objects of attention. Video game players have anywhere between 5 to 7 different objects of attention while playing. Studies show that 5 to 15 hours of gameplay per week actually makes your vision better, which also improves attention to details. There are 2 brain networks that control how attention is processed. Counterintuitive impact of technology makes action game players react more swiftly while switching attention back and forth. My brother Cody is 15 and has played different kinds of action video games for as long as I can remember. That may not sound like the most responsible family ever, but it has been noticed by many how his attention to detail varies. He has the ability to switch his attention back and forth faster than anybody else I know. Before we can discuss video game reaction time, we must first talk about the positive effects action video games have on the brain. Video games can impact the brain in many ways. However, the main changes are to the networks that control attention. The parietal cortex, known to control orientation of attention, the frontal lobe, which controls how we sustain attention, and the anterior cingulate, which controls how we locate and regulate attentions and resolve conflict. In test, brain imaging shows that all 3 networks work better after playing action video games. Now that we understand some of the positive effects action video games have on the brain, we can now talk about experiments that further back up this information. Research shows that video game players will develop a heightened sensitivity to their surroundings, which doesn't just make them better at video games, but also improves everyday activities as well. Dozens of 15 to 18-year-olds who did not ordinarily play video games were split into 2 groups. One group played 50 hours of action video games like Call of Duty 2 and Unreal Tournament, while the other group played 50 hours of strategy games like The Sims 2. To see how each group fared, they were to make quick decisions and several tasks designed by researchers. The groups had to answer simple questions about an action in as little time as possible. Action game players were up to 25% faster at coming up to a conclusion and answered just as many questions correctly as the strategy game playing group. While we have discussed how video games affect the brain and how they can heighten people's sensitivity to their surroundings, I am now going to talk about how most video game players are considered trigger happy, where the player acts impulsively. Due to increased speed of processing in video game players, they are often viewed as impulsive when reacting to their surroundings. However, research shows that is not the case. Results show an equivalent accuracy to non-video game players. Video game players responded more quickly than non-video game players on multiple tests. This confirms how reaction time is increased in action video game players. Accuracy did not differ for the 2 groups. Video game players tested faster but not more impulsive than non-video game players, and were both equally capable of sustaining their attention. In review, I have shared information with you about video games' impact on the networks in the brain, developed sensitivity to their surroundings, and accuracy versus impulsiveness. By sharing this with you, my only hope is that the next time you see a kid playing Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty, you manage a smile, knowing it will help to further develop their skills for sports, debates, or even chess.